Over the past few years, something interesting has started to happen across many different industries. More and more organisations are launching podcasts. Not just media companies, not just journalists, but businesses, creative agencies, universities, schools, charities, and even public sector organisations. And the reason is quite simple. Podcasting has become one of the most effective ways to communicate ideas in a deeper and more meaningful way. A podcast allows an organisation to move beyond short marketing messages or quick social media updates. Instead, it creates space for conversation, space for storytelling, and space for expertise. And because podcast listeners choose to spend time with the content, that conversation often becomes much more engaging and much more memorable. In this episode, we're going to explore how organisations are actually using podcasts in practice and why podcasting has become such a versatile communication platform. This is Podcasting That Works, a short series exploring how podcasts build influence, trust and meaningful audience connection. I'm Craig Burgess, founder of One Stop Podcasts. In the previous episode, we explored why podcasting works so well as a communication medium. In this episode, we're going to look at how different organisations are actually using podcasts and why this format has become such a powerful tool across business, education and creative industries. Podcasts for brands and businesses. One of the most common ways organisations are using podcasts today is as a platform for thought leadership. Many brands now recognise that audiences are far more likely to engage with ideas than with traditional marketing messages. A podcast allows a business to explore topics that matter to its audience. Instead of simply promoting products or services, a podcast can share expertise, industry insight, and real conversations. For example, a company might create a podcast discussing trends within its sector. A technology business might explore innovation and digital transformation. A creative brand might interview artists, designers, or entrepreneurs. The focus becomes conversation rather than promotion. And when that conversation is thoughtful and valuable, the audience begins to associate the brand with expertise and credibility. Podcasting also allows organisations to show personality. Unlike traditional corporate communication, which can sometimes feel quite formal or scripted, podcasts allow a more natural and human tone. Listeners hear real voices, real conversations, and real perspectives. That sense of authenticity is incredibly valuable. Because when audiences feel like they are hearing genuine voices rather than polished marketing messages, trust begins to develop. And over time, that trust can become one of the most powerful assets a brand has. Podcasts for agencies and creative teams. Another area where podcasting has grown rapidly is within the creative and marketing industries. Many agencies now recognise that podcasts can play an important role in content strategy. A podcast can sit alongside written articles, video content, and social media as part of a broader communication approach. For agencies, podcasts offer several opportunities. First, they can help agencies build their own authority. An agency podcast might explore marketing ideas, creative thinking, brand strategy, or industry trends. By discussing these topics openly, agencies can demonstrate expertise and build credibility with potential clients. Second, agencies increasingly develop podcasts for their own clients. A brand might want to launch a podcast to connect with its audience, but may not have the internal expertise or production infrastructure required. Podcast production involves many different elements. There is the strategic design of the show. There is recording and audio production. There is editing, sound design and music. There's distribution, publishing and promotion. And there is the ongoing process of managing episodes and maintaining consistency. Because of this, many agencies partner with specialist podcast production teams to help deliver these services. This allows the agency to maintain the client relationship and creative direction while the production partner handles the technical and editorial execution. The result is a much smoother process for everyone involved. and a higher quality final podcast. Podcasts in education. Podcasting is also becoming increasingly valuable in education. Teachers and educators are discovering that podcasting can be an incredibly powerful tool for learning. One of the reasons for this is that podcasting encourages students to think about communication in a structured and creative way. When students create a podcast, they need to consider several important skills. They need to develop ideas. They need to plan what they want to say. They need to organise information clearly. They need to speak confidently and listen carefully to others. All of these skills are closely connected to communication, literacy, and critical thinking. Podcasting also encourages collaboration. Students often work in small teams where they take on different roles, perhaps as a host, an interviewer, a researcher, or producer. This allows them to experience creative teamwork while developing a shared project. But perhaps the most powerful aspect of podcasting in education is student voice. When students are given the opportunity to express their ideas through a podcast, they begin to recognise that their perspectives and experiences have value. They learn that their voice matters. And when young people develop confidence in expressing ideas, it can have a profound impact on how they engage with learning more broadly. For many schools, podcasting becomes a creative bridge between communication, creativity, and digital media skills. Podcasts as a platform for ideas. Across all these examples, brands, agencies, education, one idea remains consistent. Podcasting creates a platform for ideas. Unlike many forms of media that prioritise speed and brevity, podcasts allow ideas to unfold gradually. A conversation can explore nuance. A story can develop over time. An expert can explain a topic in depth. This slower and more thoughtful pace is one of the reasons podcasts can feel refreshing compared to other media formats. Listeners are not simply skimming across information, they are engaging with it. And when organisations use podcasting thoughtfully, the result is often something that feels far more meaningful than traditional marketing or communication channels. Instead of broadcasting messages, podcasts invite listeners into a conversation, and conversations build relationships. So when we look at how organisations use podcasts, a few key ideas begin to emerge. First, podcasts allow brands and businesses to share expertise and develop thought leadership. Second, podcasts provide agencies and creative teams with a powerful tool for storytelling and content strategy. And third, podcasting can play an important role in education by helping students develop confidence, communication skills, and creative collaboration. Across all of these areas, the real power of podcasting lies in its ability to create meaningful conversations. In the next episode of Podcasting That Works, we'll explore what actually makes a great podcast. We'll look at why some podcasts succeed while others struggle, and the key elements that help a podcast connect with its audience. If you're interested in learning more about podcast production or exploring how a podcast could work for your organisation, you can visit onestoppodcast.com for more information. Thanks for listening.